Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle your faith, your family, and your filmmaking career? Well, you're not alone. A lot of creatives who are also believers often struggle with this, and they can find it very overwhelming. No doubt you've often found these three things at war in your head, and eventually you're going to probably hit a wall where you have a come to Jesus moment. I know a few years ago, that's exactly what I had. So what we're going to talk about is some common traps that filmmakers fall into when trying to find that balance, and also some strategies that'll get you either out of the trap if you're already in it, or how to avoid them entirely. Now, quite easily, trap number one is probably the most important one to avoid if you can, and that's not starting your day out with God. Now, the best way I can explain this is to tell you how I fell into this trap. Basically, for the first few years of my career, it was very much get up, watch TV for a few hours, maybe do a little morning devotional before I went to work, pray about my wish list of things I hoped God would give me that day or give me, in the grander scheme of things, and then I would go to work. Simple as that. And that was not the right focus. My heart wasn't really in those prayers. It really wasn't in letting God have full control over my career. It was just kind of like he was my co-pilot. When I needed him, I would call upon him, but I wasn't letting him drive. And that's a very dangerous trap to fall into. I think especially for Christians who are trying to pursue a career in filmmaking and media production. Because there's a lot of distractions out there that are pulling our attention every which way. But our focus needs to be on God. Which trap number two kind of ties into this a little bit. And that's bad time management and letting distractions get in the way, but also laziness. There's so many distractions all around us. So it's very easy to get sidetracked, to not be taking that first step of creating our next thing. Instead, we're gonna watch someone else's thing. And I actually just watched a video today by a content creator that I really respect. And he gave this very simple idea, which I'm gonna give him all credit for. It was done by a gentleman called Ben Johnson. And he said a very simple principle, and it's this: create more than you're consuming. Like, simple concept, hard to execute. And I can personally attest, it is so easy just to watch video after video after video, or go upstairs with my kid while she's just chilling in her playpen and just turn on, for me right now, it's the latest episode of Criminal Minds, and just watch episode after episode and just keep clicking next. And all of a sudden, hours just click off the clock. And next thing you know, you barely have a few hours left in the afternoon, and you've barely done anything. Time management is so important. But if you fall in that trap of just letting things distract you, you're not going to get where you want to go in your filmmaking career. And if you're letting things distract you like that are earthly things, God's not going to be able to direct you to what he wants you to be doing with your talents. And this is another easy one for solo creators to fall into, is to let your own personal health suffer. You can just kind of get all up in your head of like, well, I got deadlines and I need to push. And if I keep pushing harder and harder, I'm going to get things done faster. I'm going to get things done in a more efficient way. I'm going to crank things out. And you hear about this kind of physical burnout a lot, especially in the YouTube creation space, where people are just trying to crank out every YouTube video after YouTube video, like, multiple videos a week. And we need to build our channel. We want to get to these levels. We have these goals. And it's just go. And then all of a sudden, that channel just hits a wall. Just browse through YouTube. You'll see so many videos of people just talking about burnout. God created this amazing thing called our bodies. And part of our responsibility is to take care of those bodies, because he entrusted us with these bodies. And he made us capable of so many amazing things, but we do need to take care of ourselves. A couple things that I found to work to help kind of avoid these traps, or at least to get myself out of them if I happen to find myself in them, is first off, dedicate time in the morning to just thinking about my own personal health. And that's my mental, my physical, and my spiritual health. This took me a few months to figure out for myself and really get a plan in place. When I first transitioned into being an independent contractor and freelance filmmaker and working out of my basement, I didn't have a great schedule. And then we adopted my daughter, which, as any parent will tell you, kids take your schedule and then they throw it out the window. They then get in the car, run over the plan, and then they hand it to you and say, here you go. Hope that plan was nice while you had it. But now we're in a whole new reality. So my strategy was, I actually chose my daughter's first nap, which, since she gets up between 5 to 6 in the morning, usually is around 9 o'clock. And I found that's the perfect time for me to go do my workouts for my physical health. But then while I'm on the elliptical bike, I then will pull up a sermon and listen to that sermon. And then immediately after my workout and the sermon is done, I'll go into the office, I'll journal down everything, and then I'll spend the next 15 to 20 minutes reading over my notes, thinking about the message I just heard, and spending that time with the Lord, and just committing those things to Him and saying, Lord, thank you for revealing these truths to me. Guide me today, guide me this week, guide me this month, show me what you want me to be focusing on. And that helps to just, for the rest of the day, calibrate myself and focus myself. So that's one of the strategies that I found, is make sure you set aside that time. Again, for mental, spiritual, and physical health. You have to find a work schedule that allows you to have that balance and allows you in it, and it needs to be a work schedule that you can maintain and avoid the burnout. Which goes to one of the traps I had talked about, which is just pushing so hard that you eventually hit that point. And really, if you can figure out a schedule for yourself that has flexibility in it, where you're still getting everything you need to get done, that leaves you time for family, that leaves you time to have fun, that's gonna be such a huge benefit for you in the long run. The only way you can do that is if you find a work schedule and a balance that you can maintain over a long period of time. Not just something that you can do just in your 20s or just in your 30s. It needs to be something that you could do long term. And that's a key thing, at least what I found, is that I want to be doing this long term. That's a goal of mine. I want to be doing this for many years. And that only comes from keeping flexibility in my schedule and finding something that's maintainable. Still have ambitions, still have goals, but don't rush it. What I would encourage you to do is to think about these a little bit. Think about, maybe are some of these sounding maybe a little familiar to you? Maybe try a couple of the strategies that I suggested. But remember, it takes time to find balance. It takes time to implement these strategies. So don't feel like you're failing if you don't get it right away. And you'll see more of that in my next video right here. So until next time, guys, keep the faith, keep on filmmaking. I'll see you in the next video.